Okay, hello, my name is Sarah James, and I'm here with Chris Earhart. He is the advisor of Safe Rides. So.
Hi.
Okay, Chris. So today we're just going to talk about volunteerism and ethics in Safe Rides, which is a student nonprofit organization here on campus. So, could you summarize for us the Safe Rides mission?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think in some ways we have our written mission, and then we have the mission that we live by. So I think basically what I'm trying to say is I think we've outgrown our mission, because our mission used to be just to provide sober rides to students on weekends. But now we do a lot more than that. We also provide education and a lot of learning opportunities for a lot of people. And then in addition to that, I think we also have a vision of what the organization internally will look like. I think we do a lot of things to really emphasize professional development and skill building and even relationship building. And so I don't know if I could summarize our mission anymore because I don't know if we've looked at it as critically. But I think still, bottom line, our hope is to provide opportunities to make Harrisonburg a safer community and limit the amount of drinking and driving, but not just by direct service, meaning not just driving them home, but also through education and giving them the knowledge that they themselves can make the decisions to make Harrisonburg a safer community. So it's evolved for sure, but it's no longer just rides home on weekends.
Okay. Well, thank you. So our next question is going to be, can you describe some characteristics of the code of ethics practiced within Safe Rides? So just like some ethics that you see that are emphasized a lot.
Sure, yeah, I'm trying to think, because I think that's a tough question, because I don't know if we necessarily have articulated our code of ethics. I think, like I said, we have values that we certainly live by. We put a lot of consideration into our risk management and protocol like that. But I'm struggling to articulate our code of ethics.
Well, could you describe a little bit about the confidentiality that we have within Safe Rides?
Sure, and so we definitely have a philosophy that we live by, and I think that definitely dictates a lot of our behavior. We're definitely a non-judgmental organization. We provide people the safe rides home regardless, and we don't necessarily ask who they are or what are their contexts, what led them to want a ride home. And so in some ways you could say, we really value individuals and the right to choose and many different things. But yeah, that's a tough question. We might have to come back to it.
Okay. Well, no, that was great, actually. Thank you. So, next one is, what does the word volunteerism mean to you?
So when I think of volunteerism, I think of people giving resources other than financial resources without the expectation of necessarily getting resources back. So that can be time, that could be skills, something that directly adds to a cause or to an effort, but again, without the expectation that they will gain resources, tangible things back. Now, I think volunteerism provides opportunities to gain a lot, but it's not necessarily, like I said, tangible things. It can be rewarding, but not in a tangible way.
Okay. So that leads me into the next question.
Okay.
Which is, what is the importance of volunteers in Safe Rides then?
Sure. So we have 165 really passionate people that volunteer time on the weekends. Time in addition to the time they spend on the weekends, like I said, to provide education to the community, to put effort into awareness raising so people know this resource exists. Time, I think, is something we all recognize is valuable, but we sometimes take for granted, and we don't necessarily thank people as much as we could when they're giving up their time to help others. And without these individuals, like we couldn't do anything. And so the backbone of our organization is our volunteers. Actually, I mean, every person that's a part of Safe Rides is volunteering their time, and so it would be non-existent. And so, yeah, I can't even think. It's a tough question to answer. Like, what would Safe Rides be without the volunteers? Because there wouldn't be a Safe Rides.
Well, I'm a huge fan of them. So what is the main function of your job as the advisor of Safe Rides?
Sure. So I kind of think of it as I have two main roles, maybe three main roles. One, I think, is to help support the executive team in whatever way I can. So whether that's coaching them through a difficult situation, being a sounding board, helping them process, or even providing them with like learning opportunities. I think two, to also be that reminder of what our mission and vision is. And so if we are doing things or putting energy into efforts that don't necessarily complement or seem to deviate a little bit from our intended goals, I could be there to help remind the leaders. So, when we're talking about should we start driving people to bars or something like that, and because that would limit drinking and driving if they're pre-gaming and they want to save a ride, but that doesn't necessarily help make sure that they are getting home or to an environment that in itself is safe, because there's a lot of risk when you're drinking out. And so, yeah, I don't think Safe Rides really ever loses sight of that, but if they were, I would see one of my roles being to remind them of our mission and the reason we do what we do. And then I would say my last, so the third would really be just to be an advocate, to help establish relationships with people across campus and within the community to further support Safe Rides. It's come a long way. When I first started, I felt like I did a lot more of that. Like I had to some degree, even sell people on Safe Rides, or there were people that maybe they were either apathetic or even didn't hold Safe Rides in the best light. I don't know who's going to see this, but for example, Residence Life didn't like us for a while. I think part of the reason was we were bringing home people that were intoxicated, and then the RAs would feel that they, knowing they were intoxicated, would have to confront it. They felt like Safe Rides were the good guys and they were the bad guys. Safe Rides was helping them make good decisions, and then Residence Life was just getting them in trouble. And so talking to Residence Life about how we can make that relationship look differently. Like, do your RAs, even if they can assume safely that the people being dropped off are drinking, if they aren't being loud and they are just going to their rooms, do the RAs have to address that? No, they don't. So if they're not causing a disturbance to the community and there's no risk. And so just being there to help facilitate those conversations so that the relationships can be as positive and healthy as possible. And even since I've started, which is going on 4 years, it's changed drastically. I felt in the last year I didn't really need to do that as much, but there might be times where people misunderstand something we're doing, and I might have to speak on behalf of the organization or give context so that people understand what's really going on. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Okay, and my last one would be, how does Safe Rides affect the Harrisonburg and JMU community?
Yeah, so like I said, I've seen it grow. When I was a student here, Safe Rides wasn't even providing rides home. It was more education, talking about drinking and driving and the risks inherent in that. And I've seen it grow from 2 cars to 3 cars to 4 cars to 5, and now every once in a while 6 cars. And so not only do we have like statistical data to prove that we are limiting the amount of drinking and driving as the rates in Harrisonburg have gone down, I think in general people are more aware of the risks. So even when Safe Rides is not driving, they are hopefully making different decisions, just having a better understanding of the consequences, whether that be physical or legal, just the different things that can put them in some not great situations. And so, yeah, I think in some ways we could measure the way it's given back to the community, but I think it goes much beyond that because people, even when they graduate JMU, are going to have a much better understanding of these risks, and so they're going to be affecting other communities as well. And I think that's pretty amazing and incredible. So it's not just the Harrisonburg and JMU community, but potentially a lot of other communities as well.
Well, thank you for your time, Chris. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, but I'll get back to you on that ethics question.
Okay.
That'll be a team building activity next year for the exec team.
Okay.
Our code of ethics. So, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.